Many, many years ago, there lived a king in a small kingdom. The king was not a nice man. He was selfish and spoiled. He did not care about anyone else. Kingdom, a place ruled or governed by a king or queen. Selfish, only thinking and caring about oneself. Spoiled, someone who has everything and usually does not appreciate it. All of the workers in the castle did not like the king. They never smiled. The king only yelled at them. He treated them very badly. Castle, a large building surrounded by walls and protected, sometimes where the kings and queens lived. Yell, to scream or shout at someone in a loud voice. Treated them badly, to not show respect, had bad behavior towards them, or be unpleasant to them. The king was so unkind, he would tell the royal chef, "You call this food? This is dog food." Unkind, not nice, the opposite of kind. The peasants and the workers did not like the king either. They worked very hard in the fields and their jobs. They never saw the king. Peasants, low-paid farm workers, usually poor and uneducated. One day, the king was outside of his castle, going through one of the nearby villages. He stopped his horse. He saw the most beautiful peasant girl that he had ever seen in his life. He decided right there that she would be his queen. The girl knew the king was not a nice man. She was just a poor peasant girl, though. And when the king sent for her to come to the castle, she went. She had no choice. The peasant girl was known to be one of the nicest and kindest people in the village. Her mother was dead, but her father was a carpenter. He was a good man. Carpenter, a person who works with and builds things from wood. The king married the peasant girl several weeks later. The poor peasant girl was now the queen. The king continued his rude behavior. It made him angry that his queen was so nice to the workers in the castle. He would say to her, "Why are you so nice to them?" Rude. Not polite, showing bad behavior or ill manners. Angry, hostile, being mad. The queen would only smile and look at him. There was no hate in her heart. She continued to treat everyone with kindness and respect. The queen even told the royal chef how good his cooking was. This enraged the king, who got up from his chair and walked out of the room. Enraged, to have become very mad. There was a change in life at the castle. The workers began to smile more. The queen would visit the peasants in the villages. She would bring gifts and talk to them. They liked the queen and were loyal to her. Loyal, showing support for something or someone. Fall turned into winter, and winter turned into spring. The changing seasons did not change the queen. She continued to help her people, always with a smile on her face. Meanwhile, the king continued to be his normal, negative self. He was always yelling at people and getting angry. He began to get jealous of the queen. Meanwhile, in the same time period, jealous, showing envy, wanting of something someone else has. One day, the king asked the queen, "Why do they like you more than me? I am the king." The queen answered, "Perhaps they only know the king and not the man." She then added, "I know when they know the man, they will love their king." A few days later, the queen came to the king and said, "I want to have a party." The king answered her, "This is your first good idea. Yes, we will invite the generals, the dukes, and all the members of high society. High society, the upper class, people with money, the rich, the powerful, and famous." "No," said the queen. "This party is for the people, the peasants, the workers, your people, and you will be there." The king was so angry that he couldn't speak. The queen smiled and walked out of the room to plan the party. The night of the party, everyone from the villages came. There was food, drink, dancing, and music. Everyone was having a good time, except for the king. Except, not to include, other than. The king sat at a table while everyone around him had a good time. He looked miserable. Then something happened. Miserable, very unhappy. As the king sat, a group of peasants came up to him and said, "My king, thank you for the party. Everything is wonderful. We love you." Soon after that, another man came up and said, "You are the best king. We will follow you anywhere." This continued with more people coming up to the king and thanking him for his kindnesses. It was dark, so no one noticed that the king was smiling. They also didn't notice the tear that ran down the king's cheek. One person noticed, though. It was the queen. She too had a tear running down her cheek, but it wasn't sadness, it was happiness. At the end of the party, the king stood up. He thanked his people for their loyalty and support. He then promised to support them. The people cheered. The next night, the king and queen were in the dining room waiting for their dinner. The royal chef slowly walked in with the dinner and put it on the table. He looked very nervous. The royal chef waited. The king picked up some food and began to eat. The chef waited. After the king tried the food, he looked at the royal chef and said in a loud voice, "Did you cook this?" The royal chef answered nervously, Yes, your highness. Do you not like it?" The king answered loudly, "No, I don't like it. I love it. It's delicious. You are an amazing chef. The royal chef, with a big smile on his face, thanked the king and left him to eat. He was very happy. So, what happened to the king and queen? They lived happily ever after together. They were known for their kindness, and the people of the kingdom loved them for it. The end. The king's transformation. Transformation, meaning a large, radical, or dramatic change in something.